أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. I seek refuge with the owner of the universe from the cursed devil. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. In the name of Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Welcome to the Ummah Arizona channel. We are going to be having a discussion about a very important topic. Today, it will be the rise or fall of empires. And in this classroom of mine, I'm going to read some things that will probably change the world. We will start with the United States in terms of its dangers that it's facing. And the number one danger America faces comes from the politicians. The politicians of the United States, when they're entrusted with power, what they choose to do with that power without the knowledge of the American people has consequences. And we will start with that because if America is going to be successful moving forward, you as a citizen, you must take accountability for your vote. You are putting a vote to put someone in office, the most powerful office, with the most powerful military, and they're going to have access to mechanism that they can influence to make change. Just like a conductor, when you give them the, and they start to make the crescendo, you are responsible for handing those tools over. So we are at a very critical time in our country, and we have a moral responsibility to understand when we give the presidency to someone, something happens. You only get to vote one time. Yet, if you're from the 1960s, 70s, nobody has ever explained to you why you had so much inflation. What was the problem? Well, let's just say that I have accidentally just fell into stuff because I like politics, I like connecting dots and ideas, and I wanted to contribute to the United States with an incredible contribution that will make the American people wake up, get some coffee, The idea that you should go to Starbucks and pay $10 for your coffee, it's not common sense. So, let's get started. We'll also talk about China and Russia. Those are two things. The most important thing that we want to talk about is President Lyndon Johnson, a man who was a school teacher in Texas, poor, and then the American dream was given to him. He learned politics. He campaigned so hard that he ended up in a hospital. He was just one of those people I really liked because as an immigrant let me talk about myself a little bit quickly here before we go into that. My name is Omar Abdul Jabbar ibn Yusuf ibn Umar ibn Abdul Karim. Yeah? And that's where I'll stop because I can keep going with my names. What does that mean? It means that I'm the son of Yusuf, son of Omar, son of Abdul Karim. That's my grandfather's name. When I came to the United States, they told me, no, you need to cut up your names. We just need a first, a middle, and a last. That's it. We don't care about your other girl. This is the land of the bastard stuff. Oh. So maybe with AI we can change that. We need to be proud of legacies of coming from grandfathers who never, gave birth or had, intercourse outside the marriage. People deserve to have great parents who are dedicated to them, and when they get married, the whole family, the whole community comes together to build that house so that those people, when things get tough, when there's no love in the marriage, nobody heads for the exit because they're surrounded in all directions. So hopefully we will be contributing to that, making sure the homes and marriages are stable again. With just names. You think names are not important, but they are. What's your name? How you're connected to history? There has to be a sense of pride when someone wants to walk out of their family. There's something wrong. And that is something that we'll have to deal with at another time. Today we're talking about your responsibility to make sure that you understand who you've been given power. Who have you been giving power that has caused you problems? So we'll go back to the 1960s, the 1970s, and then we'll talk about what was the inflation about. Just one person did this. And his name is Lyndon Johnson, okay? as they call him, LBJ, with his big mouth, you know? We want to cancel him out. I don't like him anymore. I used to love him until I found out what he really did. When you master the instruments of leadership, you can present yourself, take command of the room, tell people what to do. You have power. You're directing. He's been practicing. He went to the Congress, then to the Senate, you know, and he became a beast. He knew how to work deals, work people, leadership is an instrument that you're always practicing, that you're always learning, and he reached the highest level. That's why he's being cancelled out. Lyndon Johnson shall not be mentioned. We now move on to the problem we have. We are people who are innocent. Since Kennedy left, this country has never been the same. So we'll go ahead and read some few things to get ourselves up to date. And we will start off with the unchecked ambitions. When someone has ambitions and they have the tools to make things work, they don't have a checks and balances, they'll do the greatest damage in the history of America. Lyndon Johnson was one of those people. So we'll read a few things here. Don't fall asleep, okay? Sometimes you gotta read stuff. In the Quran, the first word that was revealed was Iqra, read. Iqra, read. That's it, just read. So when it comes to reading, Muslims, it's the right for girls, for men, for women, for children. It's your right. It's the first word to be revealed. It is read. You know how amazing it is? How amazing it is to have that first verse? Because the first thing you say is important, right? In the Holy Book. And it says, Iqra. بسم ربك الذي خلق اقرأ وربك الأكرم. Read in the name of your Lord who created you. اقرأ وربك الأكرم, your Lord who is Akram. We'll go into the Quran verses another time. So we're reading the hidden dangers of political decision, a lesson from Lyndon Johnson. American politics is often shaped by the decision and powerful leaders. While some of these decisions, let me get to the light. Okay? While some of these decisions are well known, others have hidden consequences that affect the nations for decades. Lyndon B. Johnson is a prime example of a leader whose actions are far-reaching, often overlooked. Impact on the American, for example, his impact on the American economy. Understanding these hidden dangers is critical for the American people as it teaches us to be vigilant and aware of long-term effects of political moves. Number one, unchecked ambition. The Great Society and the Vietnam War, LBJ had a grand ambition to eliminate poverty and fight the Vietnam War simultaneously. These goals required enormous government spending, which he pursued aggressively, often without the necessary checks and balances. Ignoring economic warnings. Johnson's determination to fund his program led him to ignore or override warnings from economic experts, particularly from the Federal Reserve. He wanted to keep the economy booming, even if it meant risking inflation. So this man's ambition, Lyndon Johnson had this thing called the Great Society. He was going to outdo what Kennedy did. He had the inheritance of the biggest office. And he was just going to give away money, make it rain for everybody. I'm going to eliminate poverty. Can you imagine somebody saying that? Who doesn't want poverty eliminated? Do you eliminate poverty by overspending, by not being fiscally responsible? Can you really do that? Well, this man tried to do that. It's called the Great Society. You should look it up. He did many great things, and many people benefited. But at the end of the day, we're talking about a country that's vulnerable, that just lost Kennedy, that has a very strong president. We're dealing with communism on one side of the deal. We are fighting communism. And we have this man who has ambition. You can't even imagine how strong and physically demanding this guy was. Lyndon Johnson was physically demanding. Anyway, he put pressure on the Fed because why not? I'm going to have the greatest presidency. I'm going to spend all I want to spend. So what did he do? He ignored economic warnings, okay? Johnson's determination to fund his program led him to ignore warnings from economic experts, particularly from the Federal Reserve. He wanted to keep the economy booming, even if it meant risking inflation. He went ahead and bullied the Fed chairman in a dramatic confrontation that you can look at. Johnson physically and verbally pressured William Mackenzie Martin, the chairman of the Federal Reserve, to avoid raising interest rates. This interference prevented the Fed from taking necessary action to control inflation, leading to economic instability. This man took over the Fed and said, you know what? Shut the hell up. We're going to spend. Your blah blah nonsense about economic policy doesn't matter to me. We're going to spend. If you don't like it, shut the hell up. Don't tell me about inflation. Don't tell me about interest rates. Do whatever the hell I want. And he did that behind the American people's back, and nobody challenged. No one in the media, nobody got in his face, wrote stuff, sacrificed their life. And you know what happened? If you're in the 60s and the 70s, you remember this very, very clearly. The long-term impact, the political pressure contributed to the economic turmoil in the 1960s and 70s, culminating to Nixon's decision to end the gold standard, which further weakened the dollar and had a long-term lasting effect on the US economy. Let me repeat that. The political pressure contributed to the economic turmoil of the late 1960s and 70s, culminating to Nixon's decision to end the gold standard, which further weakened the dollar and had a long-term effect on the US economy. The hidden cost of political decisions, the hidden effect of political decisions, inflation and the dollar decline. The inflation that followed Johnson's presidency endured the value, eroded the value of the dollar and led to economic hardship that affected Americans for years. These were hidden costs by the ambition of policies the cost to the public did not fully understand at the time. If you were from the 60s and the 70s, the grocery bills, the high oil prices, the crazy inflation that went out of control, one man did that. Nobody ever put this in your face until you voted for him. He didn't even want to be re-elected because he knew he messed up so badly. If we were to slowly uncover all the stuff that he did us a great favor from leaving. I used to love this person, can you believe it? But if you're from the 60s and the 70s, you know what I'm talking about. If you don't know what I'm talking about, something called stagflation, unfortunately, stuff that goes up. In the 1970s, we saw a period of stagflation, troubling combination of stagnant economic growth and high inflation, largely rooted in the economic policies of Johnson's administration. This period was a direct result of the decision that made without proper economic oversight. We're almost done with this Johnson guy, because you can't bring change if you can't call out one man who destroyed us. Importance of checks and balances. Johnson's leadership is an example that the importance of checks and balances in a government. Not a single politician should have the power to push through policies without considering the long-term economic impact. Vigilance in our democracy. As American citizens, it is essential to remain vigilant and hold our leaders accountable. I am an American citizen myself, and I'm proud to be American Muslim, okay? Just to make that clear. Vigilance in our democracy. As American citizens, it is essential to remain vigilant and hold our leaders accountable. The decision that they make today can have hidden consequences that may not become apparent for years. But we are the ones who will bear the cost. If you have wages that never go up, you can't afford your home even today, some politician is doing something that's affecting your pocket. You can't, wages are always down, you're always making minimum wage, you can't pay your bills, you're the one who's voting. You're the one who's giving power. Whether you deserve the actions that they do with their policies. You put them in charge. What do you expect? Okay, let's begin to conclude here. Lyndon Johnson's presidency offers a powerful lesson in the dangers of unchecked political power, the long-lasting impact of the hidden economic decision. While his ambitions were grand, the consequences of his actions, particularly in interference with the Federal Reserve, led to decades of economic challenges. This serves as a reminder for the American people. They must stay informed and engaged. You must stay informed and engaged, ensuring that our leaders make decisions that are not only bold, but economically sound. Economically sound. Lyndon Johnson played a significant role in the decline of the US dollar during his presidency, particularly through his aggressive and often confrontational approach. I guess we got a lot in common with Johnson. Maybe that's why I can see all his problems. We got the same attitude. Lyndon Johnson played a significant role in the decline of the US dollar during his presidency, particularly through his aggressive and often confrontational approach in economic policy. Here's a breakdown of what happened and how it impacted the United States economy in a way that is easy to explain to people who are young like you. Are you a young person? You don't know what happened in the 70s? I'm telling you what happened. Let me make sure this camera is working. So, if you're a young person, it's very important that you're able to understand this. We're going to go through this, so you pay attention if you're young. I'm a millennium, so I wasn't there actually. I was there in the 80s, but it's a different story. Johnson's ambition and agenda. The Great Society of Vietnam, LBJ, had big dreams for America. He wanted to eliminate poverty through his Great Society program and simultaneously fund the Vietnam War. This required massive government spending. You know, I'm going to explain it to children another time, but you know what? We'll just go through this. The conflict with the Federal Reserve. Bullying the Fed chairman, the Federal Reserve chairman, led to Chairman William McKinley, who was supposed to keep the economy stable. That's his job. That's the job of the Fed. Partially by controlling inflation, raising prices. However, Johnson was so determined to keep the economy growing and to pay for his program, he pressured Martin to avoid raising interest rate, which would have slowed down inflation, but also slowed down the economy. Physical confrontation. In 1965, Martin raised the discount rate of the Fed Fed changing banks. Johnson was furious. In 1960, Martin raised the discount rate of the interest rate of the Fed charges banks. Johnson was furious. He summoned Martin to his Texas ranch, not the White House, where the reporters will see him. Texas ranch, and physically accusing him of undermining his presidency. This encounter showed that Johnson how far Johnson was willing to push his agenda even at the expense of the sound economic policy. He didn't care. The consequences, the inflation decline, the decline of the dollar. Johnson refused to allow the Fed to control inflation, contribute to the economic instabilities of the 1960s and the 70s. This unchecked spending led to inflation, which weakened the dollar's value. By the time Nixon became president, the situation was deteriorated. It was very bad. Deterioration, pronunciation. Deteriorated so much that he had to end the gold standard in the 1971, meaning the dollar was no longer backed by dollar, making the end of the Bretton Woods system. Long-term impact. The action taken by Johnson's presidency sets the stage for economic challenges that followed during stagflation, a combination of stagnant economic growth and high inflation. Stagflation is a combination of stagnant economic growth and high inflation. In the 70s, the dollar weakened and we had long-lasting effect on the global economy and diminished the US financial dominance. What is it that you can learn as a young person? Tell me, what are you learning? Are you learning? You want me to sing you the Flintstone? Fred the Flintstone or what? Wake up! When I'm teaching, I want you looking at me and paying attention. It doesn't hurt. Anyway. Young people, pay attention. Importance of economic discipline. Lyndon Johnson example teaches us that even the best intention, like fighting poverty, funding important programs, need to be balanced with reasonable economic policies. When leaders ignore the advice of economic experts and push short-term gains, long-term consequences can be severe. Checks and balances. The episode also underscores the importance of having checks and balances in the government. Not a single leader should have unchecked powers over the economy, as this could lead to decisions to harm the country and long term. In summary, Johnson's aggressive push to fund his program without considering the economic consequences played by a major role in the decline of the dollar, leading to inflation and economic instability that America is still dealing with today. This serves as a powerful lesson in the importance of the balancing ambition with economic responsibility. Unfortunately, it's not just the politicians, because we had a man named Greenspan come into play after, a lot of timelines. He came into play, and this is when we really lost. Even though Johnson did all of that, America was still dominant even after he left. But what Nixon did, I don't know how to explain this to you. Politics is it's not for children. You have to make decisions that are sound, that are in your interest, not in the interest of other countries, the interest of the United States of America. What Nixon did was something that, Michael Jordan could never do. He's never going to be praised. But the political system was made for liars and losers, manipulators and psychopaths, because you want the best at the game of politics. I'm sorry to tell you that. Unfortunately, I'm not one of those people. That's why we need to return the presidency to psychopaths other than Donald Trump. You have to actually be smart, learn economics, know a little bit of math. I feel like the politicians in general, they are not as smart as they used to be. When you put a dumb politician who has bullying capability like Johnson, if Kennedy was there, he would not push the Federal Reserve Chairman to destroy the economy. He would just suffer the pain of the consequences. And that's because he served in the military. Anybody who served in a tough environment, I served as a correctional officer in a tough environment. So I value the input of people, body language, what they're saying, what women are saying, what's being said. So I take that into consideration. So consider me the continuation of Kennedy, okay? So we move on to China now. Because you never go out and blame anybody until you deal with your own problems. As Americans, we failed. We put politicians in charge, and we refuse to hold ourselves accountable. So I started with America because we have a lot of accountability. We have a lot of discussions with ourselves. What is it that we can do better before we start talking about China or Russia? So let's go ahead and talk about China. There seems to be shining. New kid on the block, Backstreet Boys, they're doing well. They have all these shiny buildings. They look so smart. We look so stupid. Our infrastructure is deteriorating. We look so bad. How the hell did they get there? We're going to tell a quick story. Every good story starts with a question. When you ask the right question, the right door is open. So, how did China build its economy? How did they go from being poverty to shining buildings, building all these bridges in Africa? How did they get all this information when they were just riding on backs? They were so poor that even African countries were richer than them. They tried socialism, they tried everything. They just kept on losing, starving, dying. They were just mass starvation. They didn't even have a phone or a computer. They had nothing. They were poor. How did they reach the United States? How did they surpass us all of a sudden to the point where we're being threatened? How? Let's have a discussion. How did China build its economy? The first thing it did, this started in 2001. Can you believe it? It's only 22 years. Before that, they were in poverty like crazy. It started with joining the World Trade Organization in 2001. China joined the World Trade Organization, opening up the economy to global trade. There's a man called Dao Chingping. That man was incredible. He played stupid. He came and wore American hats and, he took over the political system of China, and he just came and said, you know what? I don't know anything, I'm just stupid. Teach me, help me, I'm here. I don't know what's going on. Oh, the internet will definitely change us. We will be more democratic. We won't crack down on anybody. Take your pants off, turn the lights off, Anyway, that's a politician you need to look for to understand all of this, because he's the one who made all these changes. Now, let me say good things about China. We want to move forward, not backwards. How can we do that where we can all cooperate, when we can all be one team, how we can, balance things out and just move to the future? That's what I want. So, don't take it personally. So, they joined what? 2001, joined the trade organization, opened up its economies. They allowed China to sell goods and services to many countries, including the United States, at a lower cost. So China was given an advantage, attracting American businesses. Nobody has destroyed us than Wall Street. You tell them you're going to make money, they'll say, what? How much? You tell them you're going to destroy the American economy. You're going to destroy your own industries. Who cares about America? I just care about money. Tell me how I'm going to make money. I will destroy America. You don't need an enemy. I will destroy all the jobs. I will move them over there. You tell me how much money I make. That's it. I will shut down. I will destroy America myself. That's what happened. But I will read this for you so you understand. Don't blame China. It's those greedy people. Americans, businesses. Many American companies moved their production to China because it was cheaper to manufacture goods here. This helped the Chinese economy rapidly grow, but also led to job losses and businesses in the United States, especially places in New York, where industries that could not compete with China's costs, where it was hit hard. They just building economic strength. Over time, China became an economic powerhouse. It used its profits from the trades to invest in its infrastructure, technology, and its military, and strengthen its position on the global stage. China shifts now. All of that we understand. We're going to just go to the current situation where they're dumping what they should be holding close to their heart and supporting a country that could be on life support. But what they're doing is trying to yank the life support out of our country. And most of you are sleeping, so listen up if you're an American. China's shift, dumping US treasuries. What are US treasuries? US treasuries are bonds that the United States sells to borrow money. Countries like China buy these bonds as a safe way to invest their money because they trust the US economy. Dumping of the treasuries. Recently, China has started selling off of the US treasuries, process known as dumping. This could be a sign that China is preparing for a future where it doesn't rely as much as the US economy by dumping treasuries. China might be signaling that it wants to reduce economic ties with the US and create its own financial system independent from American influence. The dangers of China's actions. The economic impact. If China continues to dump US treasuries, it could lead to a higher interest rates in the United States, making it more expensive for Americans to borrow money for homes, cars, businesses. This could slow down the US economy and make it harder for people to find jobs. Did you hear that? Let me repeat it for you closely. China started selling off US treasuries, a process known as dumping. This could be a sign China is preparing for a future where it does not rely much on the US economy. By dumping treasuries, China might be signaling that it wants to reduce its economic ties to the US and create its own financial system independent from American influence. If China continues to dump US treasuries, it could lead to a higher interest rates in the US, making it more expensive for Americans to borrow money for homes, cars, and businesses. This could slow down the economy of the US and make it harder for people to find jobs. The global shift. China is positioning itself. You hear me? China is positioning itself to be a dominant global power, potentially leading to a new world order where the US is no longer central economic leader. This could change the way global trade works, new rules that might not favor the US as much as before. American response. If America does not recognize and respond to these changes, it could lose its influence on the world. This could make it harder for the United States to protect its interests, support its economy, and ensure that America can continue to enjoy high standards of living that they are accustomed to. We're going to the poorhouse. America's response. If America does not recognize and respond to these challenges, it could lose its influence, and this could make it harder for the US to protect its interest, support its economy, and get rid of this living standard that doesn't even exist for rich people. But it's going to impact all of us. So what does this mean if you're a young person? Let's go back here quickly and summarize this. As a young person, you should raise your level of awareness and understanding. It is critical for young people to understand that the global economy shifts, and the decision made by countries like China today will shape the world you inherit tomorrow. If you, as a young person, don't take this seriously, you're not going to have those electric homes, the robots that you're expecting, the nice life, the increase of your salaries. You're pretty much going to be inheriting problems because you are not paying attention, you don't want to be involved, you don't want to have real conversation with real people. Don't blame anybody but yourself. But what can you do? The US needs to innovate, adapt and maintain competitiveness. This means investing in education, technology, industries that can compete globally, rather than relying on old models that are no longer sustainable. Young people must stay informed, engage with how the global economy is evolving. By understanding these issues, they can help shape the future, ensuring America remains strong, resilient in a rapidly changing economy. Conclusion. China's rise as an economic power has both the product and the challenges of a global system that the US helped create. As China begins to move away from relying on the US and starts to dump US trade, it's signaling a shift towards a new world order. The dangers of this shifts are real, but the awareness of the innovation and the resilience of young people can help endure US remain strong and vital player of the global economy. What is it that you can do as a young person? Well, how about you believe in new talent? How about you listen to the person who's talking to you? Because I have my own plans and I'm going to unveil it right now. Because if I don't unveil these plans and explain it in detail, the chances of America winning is zero. Maybe I'm being arrogant, maybe not zero, but maybe 50%. Because I need young people to believe in me. I need young people to understand what I'm about to tell them. And if you listen to me, then we have a chance. If you don't, then these politicians who I'm going to explain, Lyndon Johnson was the beginning, and 1960s and 70s, and we had that suffering of people, inflation, they couldn't afford groceries, they couldn't afford gas, prices were just too high, So what's about to happen again? Biden has made a lot of decisions, just like Lyndon Johnson, and we're going to go through that when we talk about Russia, because we're concluding with China here. Actually, I want to conclude with China here. We're done with China. You understand they are on the rise, they are on the go. I'm going to introduce my plan. It's called Dear young people, I need you to approve my plan. It's called the brand currency system. First, you have to understand the brand, what it stands for. The brand is a B. I like cursive, so it sucks, but starts for businesses. B is for business. It doesn't matter if you're a small business, a big business, everybody's in business to make their life better, okay? So we're going to change this idea of the brand. The B stands for businesses. Everybody in business. Those are the people who are going to shape the economy. So if you're going to join my program, you have to start a business. I don't allow anybody who doesn't want to start a business to be part of this idea. Because once you have a business, you're going to have needs. And businesses are always, businesses are always, you know, are always, businesses are always trying to make money through currency. It's all about the money. Once every person understands that they have to open their own business, and then we're going to sit on the table as Americans who own businesses. And then, once you become business survey, maybe you will be in the business of farming, maybe you're in the business of whatever you're in, you know, you're selling stuff online, maybe you're into crypto, you have a business that does that. I don't deal with regular people. That's my plan. When you deal with people who don't want to have a business, they can't help me and I can't help them. So what this business, you have to register your business, and my business, it's a plan. I have something called all of this is in there. I have something called the US money plan. The US money plan is connected to businesses. It's connected to coupons, you know, something like that. So when you think about currencies, what I'm trying to do is take our dollar and connect it to coupons, you know, coupons that are going to be powering the US dollar. We're going to put our debt, we're going to put our creativity, we're going to put ourselves on the line as Americans. And what is it that we have as Americans that shapes the world? You have to know economics, and that is customer spending. Okay? I remember sitting down, feeling helpless, trying to figure out what God has left me as a person in this complicated machines that are going forth. Where is my power? It might be small, but it must be the power that shifts the world, shifts. You know, if you're getting into a fight like Muhammad Ali, you gotta know what power you possess. If you know your power, then you can be a person who can actually make a difference. So when I was going through this US money plan, I had to figure it out. And I figured out that our spending is what moves countries, you know, deficits and all of that. So we're gonna take that spending and we're gonna put it in a hose and then make it powerful, you know? Make it precise. We're going to take that spending, connect it to a system I call coupons that support currencies. China is dumping our treasuries. We are going to be taking our coupons, creating a system, backing our own dollar. Now, this is not going to work. I'm sorry to tell you that. Simply because we have to deal with what Biden did. First, we have to hold politicians accountable. Then we can have a discussion on this. I'm not going to waste too much time on this, but I will just explain it quickly so you understand. You understand what's going on, okay? It's just a simple circular. What's going on? Okay, let's go through this simple, what I'm trying to do. We have coupons, and we have our ability to spend money, our shifting supply and demand. When you buy something, I want you to think yourself as connected to huge businesses. Now you understand why I expect you to be a business. Register your name. You can say Omar Arizona, like I'm Omar Arizona on my YouTube channel, my business. It's going to be YouTube videos, blogging. I'm a teacher and all of that. And then I'm going to incorporate all of that. Okay, you're a total business person, YouTuber, all your revenues and everything. Boom, we got you. Coupons goes into advertisement, targeted advertisement, blah, 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 blah. But the regular people, they have to upload their receipts into the system. We're going to create a new value, which is digital. Google has kind of done this already, but I wanted to do it on a mass scale, very big. Removing Google from the picture, taking this targeted advertisement and all of this, creating a new way to pay us forward, pushing us forward. So once that's created, and it's going to be coupons, it is not going to be connected to our US dollar. It is going to be connected to businesses. Let's say Google works with me, okay? Let's say Google decides to work with me here. And understands help me manage the system. So we register as businesses. The most powerful, the most important thing about this all of this is going to be working through politics. And I already have a plan for that. I will reveal it in the end. What you need to understand is this. Digital coupons, not connected to our dollar, but through Google and through businesses where you will register. And then somebody's going to make a profit. Somebody's going to be a loser. How this is going to work, I don't know. But at the end of the day, those who have hopes and dreams will answer this question, where it will end up. I'm not here to give you some fantasy. I know, like the puzzles, and I can see them, but I like to lower expectation, make you feel like an underdog. There's no success, nothing is happening, because something is happening. So, I want to wipe all this up so you understand. The brand currency system, it's a system powered by politics. You understand? It has to do with your vote. It has to do with politics. It has to do putting the president, the vice president, the US Congress, and the US Senate. All of that. We, as Americans, must take back politics and must start our own business so that we know our wages will never keep up with inflation. We know that the minimum wage we're making is never going to be enough. We know, no matter how hard we work, 2 jobs will never make enough. So wake up. Don't tell me, I'm going to sit out of this election. You will not. If you do, blame yourself. So, what I want is your vote. And also, I will streamline this coupon business with Google, where you can do this, this business registration, with the sign up and all of that, all the arms that do that. I'll leave it to Google, see what we can do. Obviously, it is a monopoly that's going to be taken apart. But first, you know what they say. Titans need monopolies to dominate, because if you have an advantage, you use it. Anyway, I'm about to wipe this out. Look at this carefully. You are going to be a business. You are going to be relying on your spending power through coupons. Let me explain this. It's not easy, it's not hard to understand. Transactions. Before you transact, you buy anything, you'll go to the system. That's how the system will help you make a decision. Or you can just not be part of the system and spend your money. Work, save, get lost. Nobody's telling you need to be part of this. You don't even have to watch this. Why don't you stop the video and get lost? Get lost. If you're part of this program, every time you want to spend $1, you come to the coupon system. You charge your dollar. Double, triple. Why? Because decisions it's called targeting advertisement. We're going to look at supply and demand and building stuff with the Federal Reserve. We're going to look at it. Your transaction is going to be charged up. Why? Because if you spend from our system, especially when I'm working with these people, they're going to make sure they smile at you, huh? Let's just say that your spending is going to be extra. That inflation, that whatever they were talking about, that's where you want to start coming in. For example, let's say you spend hotel, car, food, grocery, you run out of money. With the coupon, you can present now the coupons, start spending with your coupons, but it's your coupon. You have to pay it back. We're not building something if there's no supply, it doesn't match, your coupons won't work. What does that mean? It means you need to be involved. Don't make me like Lyndon Johnson, give me too much power, and then you're sitting there not holding me accountable. Obviously, decisions have to be made, and I'll have to make them sometimes, and I will have time to make decisions. But someone has to be in charge, and someone has to make sure your dollar is worth more. When you run out of money, you better have something to pay your mortgage, your car, your healthcare, and your vacation. Even if you quit your job, someone has to be there, and I'm that guy. Anyway, you get it, right? Take a picture. I'll probably stop the video and all of that. Because I need to meet with the tech companies. I've already talked to them excessively. So I will have to talk to them. We'll see how it works out. But for now, let's just get to the main cookies, huh? Politics. It's always politics. You stay out of politics, you don't make your own constitution. You don't make a country called America. You don't write a constitution. Is the constitution important? Then politicians are important. If you want anything that I just talked about, you better be part of the plan. The U.S. House plan, it's a plan to reform our politics, to redraw the Constitution, and to make sure your power to vote is not just once or twice. You're voting all the time. You'll have a digital identity. You will vote. You will be part of politics. You're never going to leave politicians alone. And I'm not going to do that as well. I'm not a politician. I don't want to be a politician. But I can design the system where the best politicians in America will come from. So the U.S. House plan is your solution. USHousePlan.com. Go there and check out what I'm saying. I'm not going to waste time talking about it. If you're going to be successful, U.S. House plan. I'm going to put it here. Make sure you check it out. If you don't, blame yourself. You went to the poorhouse. Now we'll go on to Russia. Just like that. The U.S. House plan redesigns the Constitution, redesigns how policy works. It's a new beginning. From the moment this country was created until now, nobody has challenged it. I'm already a digital president. The first avatar, already declared myself in behalf of black people, poor people. It's already done. In the future, I promise you, nobody's going to use their avatar. They're going to use the avatar of my avatar, the one people refused to acknowledge. Anyway, let's move on. We're moving on to Russia. We talked about China. They're a nice partner. We'll work with them. We don't want to erase them. They're our friend, So we have to take care of them, you know. And, you know, China, they're like the blood of the system. What they've been able to do is amazing, you know. China and Somalia, what an incredible combination. The China, we love you very much. There's a lot of love in China, you know. Absolutely beautiful country. We look forward. You've done incredible work in Africa. You continue to build. You continue to make a difference. And Africa needs you. I need you to continue making a difference. So don't be worried about me. We're going to work as a team. We'll get America back being part of a team so we can all be successful. But I congratulate the president today making his visit, and I want China to know that we really care about this relationship. We look forward to moving forward. For those of you Americans who don't know, I'm from Somalia. China has done a lot of work in Africa. We have not done. We can't even build our own bridges, you know. Politicians betrayed us. So you should go to the US House plan, we can have a discussion. Anyway, China, thank you so much for what you're doing in Somalia. It's very appreciated. We leave you right here on the board, not, you know, putting you between these two people who are going to be fighting. China and China is very special, you know. China and Somalia, you know. There's just a big love here, huh? Well, they're just special. We'll just leave them on the top of the board here for political process. I will just write them here, you know. We're just friends, huh? Angels. Let's talk about the devils. Biden, China, Russia, combination, absolutely incredible problems. We'll go through that quickly so that we can cover this. So, now that I've covered that, we're going to go ahead and talk about currencies and everything. A brief history of free-floating currencies. Currencies and the dominance of the dollar. The Bretton Woods Agreement in 1944. After World War II, the global economy needed stability. The Bretton Woods Agreement established a system where currencies were pegged to the US dollar, which in turn pegged to gold at $35 per ounce. The US became the world anchor currency because it was as good as gold. And countries held dollars in reserve because they could convert them to gold. In 1971, President Nixon ended the dollar convertibility to gold. This meant that the dollar was no longer backed by gold, effectively ending the Bretton Woods system. This shift led to an era of free-floating currencies, where the currency's values are determined by market, supply and demand, and economic factors, not fixed to a specific value of gold or other currencies. The rise of the free-floating currencies. After 1971, currencies begin to float against each other. This means their value can change based on economic condition, interest rate, trade balance, and political stability. Let me repeat that. After 1971, currencies began to float against each other. This means their value can change based on the economic condition, interest rate, trade balance, and political conditions. Countries no longer had to maintain a fixed currency exchange, allowing more flexibility in monetary policy. Why the US dollar dominates? It's very important that I talk about this, because just like Lyndon Johnson, Biden did something. You need to understand this. Pay attention. Why US dollar dominates? Historically, trust. US emerged from World War II as the strongest economy with the dollar pegged to gold. It became the most trusted currency. Global trade, oil, goods, and many other commodities are traded in dollars. This makes the US dollar the global currency. Stability. The US has a stable government and economy, making the dollar less risky compared to other currencies. What is the most important thing about the United States? It's called liquidity. The dollar is the most liquid currency, meaning it's easy to buy and sell amounts without affecting its value. This makes it convenient for global trade and finances. Let me repeat that. After the gold crisis and everything, this is what makes us who we are today. This is why the dollar is preferred, not because of oil or anything. This is why we are preferred. This is why we are dominant. Remember, the US dollar is the most liquid currency, meaning it is easy to buy and sell large amounts of value that makes it convenient for global trade. Since so many global transactions deal in dollar, it's easier for countries and companies to continue using it rather than switching to other currencies. So why not the yen or other currencies? Economic size. The US economy is the largest in the world, while Japan economy is significant, it's smaller, making it less attractive. Politics and economic stability. The US has a long history of political and economic stability, which other countries cannot match. The United States has the longest history of political and economic stability, which no other country can match until Donald Trump was elected. How does that sound? This man has taken away the most valuable things we have as Americans. Having a country that's predictable, elections predictable, everything is safe, peace, transfer of power peaceful. This man has endangered us in ways that no one can imagine, and he will do that again. Do you really want to be the person who destroys this country? Obviously, Biden hasn't done a good job as well, because if you look at what I told you about Johnson and him, it's the same thing. Because the Federal Reserve, the US Center, manages the dollar in a way that supports its value and ensures its global stability, dominance. Today, most major currencies, euro, yen, pound, float against each other. Exchange rates fluctuate based on economic data and geopolitical. The dollar's central role remains largely because it established trust, liquidity, and widespread global use in trade and finance. In summary, transactions from the Bretton Woods Agreement to a system of free-floating currency allowed the global currencies to be valued based on the market forces rather than fixed standard like gold. US dollar, due to its historical low economic stability and widespread use of global trade, remains the most dominant currency internationally. Transaction, even other currencies like yen or euro, play significant but smaller roles. Now, I had to bring you back to wake you up to what we have to lose. Just like Johnson, he had his own spending nonsense and he destroyed us. Biden has his Ukraine problems and all that nonsense. Let me make sure this thing is still recording. I'll be back. So now we'll just talk about Russia. Keep that in mind, what Johnson did to our economy, and then what Biden is going to, and other politicians have done to Russia. It's very important that we have this. Huh? So let me drink something. We're now going to talk about Russia, and we'll read some stuff and get to that. Okay? Russia. An impact of US policies. Russia attempt at democracy. The fall of Soviet Union in 1991, after the Soviet Union collapsed in 1990, Russia had a chance to start afresh and try democracy. The world, including the United States, was hopeful that Russia became a peaceful, democratic union. Now, Russia tried something called shock therapy. trust in the United States. Boris Yeltsin was a man who liked to dance, had on his liquor, but he was willing to change the Soviet system because he knew they failed. God wasn't in there. They didn't trust God, you know. America ran to God. In God we trust in the money. In God we trust. We believe in God. God protect us. Oh, we don't want to die of nuclear disaster. America ran to God, and God defended America. To the point where Russia was brought to America and said, can I do Sheikh therapy? How can I get rid of this crap? I want to live in a free democracy where everything is stability, people are free. You know, when Boris Yeltsin went to this groceries, that's when he really knew the system they had was horrible. They were behind. America has something special in it. I am here today talking to you from some hotel. I'm working a full-time job, but here I am trying to change everything. That tells you what America is. It always has someone responding for it, fighting for it. So listen. So the Russians said shock therapy. The United States and other countries advised Russia to quickly switch from government-controlled economy to a free market economy. The rapid change known as the shock therapy was supposed to help Russia become more like a Western democracy with businesses-owned enterprises instead of the government. Economic chaos. Unfortunately, the shock therapy caused a lot of economic problems. Prices skyrocketed, people lost their job, many Russians fell into poverty, the government could not control the economy, the situation spiraled out of control, there was missed opportunities by the United States. Politicians again. They told them to do shock therapy, and then Russia did what they were told, and then they had all these negative externalities. Did the United States and Europe come and stabilize them, help them so they can grow faster, become stronger than Europe, become stronger than the United States, become more free, more independent, more powerful? You think they're going to do that after they just had hell unleashed on them? You know, they say, oh, you know what, Russia, figure it out on your own. We're not going to help you. Bye. And this is confirmed by this economist that his name is missing, maybe for a good reason. If it comes, we'll discuss it. It has to do with economics. Anyway, missed opportunities for us Americans. If Kennedy was here, he would have been shocked that we couldn't even just help the Russians become more successful. He would have been the first person. You know what? I hope Russia becomes more economy better, military better. Let them go into democracy. Let them, find their own. Let them be the most powerful country in the world. We'll destroy our nuclear weapons. They destroy their nuclear weapons. The world is a safe place. Democracy, freedom everywhere. But that's not what the U.S. did. They betrayed Russia, and I'll go into it. The United States helped Russia first, but not enough. Some American politicians did not want Russia to recover quickly because they saw it as an adversary, not an ally. They feared that a strong Russia might challenge U.S., so they preferred a weak, pathetic Russia. Russia's default. In 1998, Russia's economy was in such a bad shape that 1998, the government could not pay its debt. This is called the default. The US and the Western countries did not do much to help Russia recover from the crisis. As the result was Russia's experiment with democracy and free market shambled, and they didn't care. The rise of tough leaders. You don't help. What do? Turn and turn, look for their leaders. That's what the world does. You think they're just going to die. Russia's not going to die. What did they do? Returning to strong leadership. Because of the economic chaos, the failure of democracy to improve people's life, many Russians wanted strong leadership who could bring back stability. Vladimir Putin, the man who needs to resign if he knows what's good for him, came to power in 1999, promising to restore order. He's been in power ever since in Russia. Russia has become more authoritarian, meaning the government has more control over people's lives and fewer freedoms. Under Putin, Russia has become more aggressive, more internationally, and on the world stage. Relationship between Russia and has become deteriorated, leading to conflicts and mistrust. Now, that's just basic. I'm only saying that to sugarcoat it for these other people, but it's true. It's just the facts. Mr. Putin, if you don't like it, that's your problem. I believe in democracies. I believe in freedom of speech, freedom of the press. I'm a new generation carrying the Kennedy legacy. And if you want to resign and follow the advice I gave you, you are more than welcome to do that. So Russia can move on without you. You are the one who's holding Russia back. That's your problem, not mine. Let me know when you want to resign. Anyway, now I can talk about Biden. People need to pay attention here. Just like Lyndon Johnson, who yelled at the Fed chairman, bullied him in his ranch so he can continue his program, Biden did even something worse. This is called the SWIFT system. And it's not Taylor Swift, by the way. Shame on her. Oh, maybe not shame on her, maybe she's good. I don't care. I don't like celebrities. I don't want them involved. If you're a celebrity, shut the hell up. Get lost. I don't want your help. If you're a celebrity, don't interfere. You are not welcome. Celebrities of any kind. If more than 10 people know you, stay away from me. So, what did Biden do that was so wrong? We'll talk about the SWIFT system. The SWIFT system is a global network that allows banks to send and receive information about financial transactions. It is critical for international trade and finance. After Russia's action on Ukraine and other conflicts, Western countries, including the US, used the SWIFT system to isolate Russia economically. Sanctions and boycotts. The US and the European countries imposed sanctions on Russia, meaning they refused to trade with Russia or do business. They also boycotted Russian goods, actions that are meant to punish Russia for aggressive action, but they also hurt Russia's economy, making it harder for ordinary citizens to buy goods and services. Ordinary citizens, and millions of them are Muslim. Let me tell you, I'm not happy with this. The attack on the ruble. The value of Russia's currency, the ruble, dropped significantly because of the sanctions and the removal of the SWIFT system. This made everything more expensive in Russia and further isolated the country's global trade. What this means for young people. Understanding the consequences is important to understand the decisions made by countries who have long-term consequences. Russia's attempt at democracy failed partially because it did not get enough support. And now the country is in a difficult position, isolated from much of the world. Learning from the past. The US and other Western countries might have missed an opportunity to help Russia become a stable, democratic ally. Instead, this situation led to more conflicts and division. Awareness. If you're a young person, you should be aware of how international policies and action affect lives of people in other countries. It is not just about politics. It's about understanding how these impact everyday millions of Americans. In conclusion, Russia's journey from the fall of the Soviet Union to its current state has been marked by missed opportunities and difficult choices. The United States played a role in this journey, and the consequences of the decision are still felt today. The use of the economic tools like the SWIFT system, sanctions further isolated Russia. The relationship between US remains blah blah blah. People need to understand the events so they can learn from the past and critically think about the future. Let's put this stuff away. We've talked enough. This system was supposed to help the brand currency system that I'm trying to make prosper. It was our advantage. But what Biden did, use it as a weapon, destroy it. Now we lost an advantage that we can never get back. And even though I want to get into this, it's just too much. I think I covered a lot today, and it's a good start. We'll talk about this a little bit more detail. But I want to conclude with my vision, which is more important than any country. World peace. The destruction of all nuclear weapons. The beginning of new journey for the planet. It's all up to young people. All these people who are here, tomorrow they will all die. They will be gone. Even I will be gone. But young people need to come together and follow this vision. World peace. Get every country to make sure that nukes are ready to be destroyed. Every single country. And then we're just going to destroy all of it. Some countries will not destroy it because they have authoritarian leaders, maybe North Korea or China, you think, but all of them, they have one thing that's not on their side. Guess what that is? Time. Most of these people are going to die. New generations are going to come. Things are going to change. But young people, you are always going to be here. So follow the instructions. Have that mindset. First, destroy weapons that could destroy us. We have nuclear submarines somewhere in the ocean capable of destroying the entire continent, and we are okay with that? What is that about? How can we be safe thinking a bunch of few human beings are in some nuclear sub in the middle of the ocean with nuclear capabilities of destroying the whole world? What is that about? We want all weapons that could destroy the world to be destroyed completely. We want young people to understand that that's number one reason. Remove all the weapons that could destroy us. If a few people can launch a few weapons and Earth can be wiped out, who cares? If all this economic, all of that doesn't matter. It is important we have our plans with the highest order. Don't be a loser, okay? Protecting the planet from the environment and all the other challenges. I conclude with that. That's probably going to be my legacy. Everything else will happen, it might not happen, but if you remember everything, remember you got time. Whoever's got time will have time to think, time to work on a creative plan, time to replace all those leaders with no vision, time to build new relationships, time to move on to build a better world. You have time on your side. The angel of death is always coming to get people. They're going. I saw someone I love very much last night, and I think I cried with my heart. And it was difficult to see someone you love leave. But maybe he wasn't leaving because he's not supposed to be put in a box. And then you can see his beautiful face, and I'm like, what is going on? Anyway, I guess that's how we want to end it. We had discussions. Go to the US House plan, go to the US money plan, and we'll talk about what's ahead. Hopefully, maybe I will meet with some of the leaders and we will see what is it that we can do as creative people to push ourselves forward, inshallah. سبحان ربك رب عزة عما يصفون والسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. I'm just beginning to praise my prophet, the master of the green dome, Al-Mustafa, the one who brings a smile to my heart, and the blessed family who are the creative blessings that put me on this journey of creativity. I mean, I can do more. I'm always not giving it enough, but today I think I brought my A game. So, Ya Nabi, I will just finish off with some praises on the master of the green dome, my prophet Muhammad, and the Muslims who are creative, want a better world, a peaceful world, a more prosperous world. Most people don't understand in the Turkish 1,000-year rule. If you go back, Jews, Christian, Muslims, everybody just lived in peace. To the point where when the Europeans came in, tried to give Jerusalem to the Zionists and do all of this, they were shocked. They had to draw borders. Iraq, let's draw a border for Iraq, for Jordan, because there are no borders. everybody just lived in peace. You can go from here to there, you can go to that place and live there. Everyone is in peace. It's difficult to imagine. If you want world peace, go look at the Ottoman Empire, how they did not allow racism, anybody to say that they are better than anybody, all cultures to live in peace. For 1,000 years, there was nothing but peace. Can you imagine that? And we're talking about Europe. The Ottoman Empire ruled Bulgaria and all those European lands, Greece, Africa, and all parts of Africa, Europe, the whole empire. 1,000 years of peace. Even the Europeans, they just forgot about their borders. They just lived in peace. Nobody wants to talk about peace. Nobody wants to talk about love. That's your problem. You don't want peace. You don't want love. You don't want creativity. You want hate. You want problems. You want wars. You want evil. You don't want anything that's good. You're always part of something evil. Blame yourself. I will close out with the Islamic prayers and we will say goodbye. Ya Nabi salam alayka, ya Rasul salam alayka, salawatullah alayka, anta shamsun anta badrun anta nurun fawqa nuri, ya Habib salam alayka, ya Rasul Allah. Salawatullah alayka, ya Rasul, salam alayka, ya Habib, salam alayka, salawatullah alayka, anta shamsun anta badrun anta nurun fawqa nuri, ya Habib, salam alayka, ya Rasul Allah, salawatullah alayka. Allahumma salli wa sallim wa barik alayhi wa ala alihi. Subhana rabbika rabbil izzati amma. Allahumma afri muslimin wa muslimin. Oh my Lord, owner of the universe, I pray that you bring peace to this world. I pray that you bless everyone who wants to be blessed. And curse all those people who want cursing, they want evil, they want the world to be a bad place. They are always working for evil. They never get tired of evil. They are busy with evil. They are destroying the planet. They are releasing toxic chemicals. They are toxic in our politics. They are toxic in our relations. They are a cancer to our society. I ask God to destroy them. Don't show them mercy, God, because they are evil. They have chosen their side. We are choosing the side of blessings, of peace, of multiculturalism, of prosperity, of economic policies that work for everybody, of robotics to come, robots building cities, digital citizenship, everything that is blessed. We pray God gives us all a long, healthy life. God gives us the time and the blessings and the creativity to make a change, to make blessings, to make things happen, inshallah. With that, we will end here. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين. الرحمن الرحيم. مالك يوم الدين. إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين. اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. آمين. I want to thank the blessed family, Sheikh Muhammad Al-Yaqubi Al-Idrisi Al-Hasani, 0.01 equation hypothesis, Sheikh Yahya bin Nanawi 0.2, Sheikh Habib Umar 0.3, and Sheikh Babikr bin London, the whole of the equations, Sheikh Habib Umar, Sheikh Babikr bin London, Sheikh Faisal, Sheikh Hamza Yusuf, Sheikh Abdullah bin Bayyah, and all the shuyukh, and all the awliya, and all those people who have not been mentioned. May Allah bless you, forgive you, Imam Zayd Shakir, and all the awliya, and all the people of Allah who who are out there. May Allah bless you all. Thank you for your inspiration. Thank you for your guidance. And we hope to continue to work together to make a better world, to make a blessed world as I begin to make my presence announced, so we can work together. What are the best policies to make change? How can we fix our political system? How can we push the environment forward? All of that inshallah will happen. Subhana rabbika rabbi izzatin amma yasifuna wa salamun ala al-mursaleen walhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Thank you and goodbye. It was nice talking to you today. Hopefully we covered a lot of subjects and you find it to be insightful. Go to the US money plan, the US house plan. Those are 2 plans that you need to go to. Also, I'm a truck driver. If you're trying interested, what I'm trying to do as well, I got my own business. If you want to start your business, you can start a trucking business. It's going to be good. You're never going to pay any more mortgage. You're going to be on the road. I'm going to be on the road. You can be on the road with me. You get it? We got to work together. Write some creative stuff in the mountains, everywhere. We'll be going to different places. You got to have your trucking business. Okay? Start your business. I want to finish with that. So there's some people who don't know how can I do it. Just start a business. If you already have a business, stick there. If you're a YouTuber, stick there. If you're a trader, stick there. You already know your business. If you are in a living, you're a doctor, that's your business. If you're a lawyer, that's your business. Whatever you do for a profession, it's your business. I'm a truck driver, that's my business. So don't get confused about it. If you're a YouTuber, that's your business. Stay there. I just need people to stay where they are so I can work with them as we begin this trust that you're going to give me in terms of making the world a better place. I have this term called the super user. We'll have a discussion on that at a different time. It's your super user signing out. Wa alaikum salam. May peace and mercy and blessing of Allah be upon you. Thank you and goodbye. If you read my blogs, that's what you're supposed to hear, but you never do. Now you see the voice, the sound, the energy, and it must be incredible, huh? Thank you. Ahlan wa sahlan bikum. Later.